Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's intro to Masterclass, kind of like the primer for what you get from the monthly Masterclasses at the Coalition. Um, Pretty exciting this month's on May 27th. The Masterclass is how to invigorate your brick and mortar to bring new customers. So this is a lot to do with what we're going to be talking about today, at least I expect, because I haven't been to the masterclass yet, which will be great. But we'll today touch upon building your team, which basically means working on relationships, building meaningful relationships with people, making sure people feel valued and heard, people feeling your energy, people feeling your trust in them. This is all really important for team building. So the next Coalition for Visionary Resources Masterclass is on May 27th. So make sure you register at covr.org. You can actually just go under their learning and you can make sure that you're a member first, then you can log in. For members, the master classes are $15, and for non-members, the master classes are $35. So kind of a nice incentive to get some meaningful practice and experience and mentorship and leadership. We also have later this month, we have Veronica, who's a member of the Coalition, and she's going to be speaking on May 25th, also through Facebook Live, and she's going to be talking about building a magnetic brand. So Veronica herself is very magnetic. She's the queen of playful creation. She's, a self-noted imaginator, which I think is a great term. She's the creator of Shabu Prince, so she's very playful, very creative, very inspiring, and very magnetic. So that will be May 25th, and she'll talk about building a magnetic brand. So that will be awesome. Hopefully we're all joining in slowly. I know it's kind of hard to tune into these live, so I appreciate anyone who is able to make it live. If not, hopefully you get something from this when you look back on it, when you have time. So today we're going to be talking about building your team. So to me, team is people. People is why I started my company, Quinton Coastal, because I wanted to empower people. I want to empower people at work, in their personal relationships, in their professional relationships. I want them to be connected to their own strengths. I want them to be excited about what they do, about the relationships they forge, about the work that they do, about the value they bring, about their self-worth. So to me, team building is always the most important part of any business because this is an energy that people feel. People will be drawn to your team and your business if you build, a magical team around you that share the value of your team and your business's purpose. So I think it's very important that people are valued, that they're seen for their strengths, that they're seen for their passions, that they're appreciated, that they're heard. These are really important things in any company. So I really value team building in any company as well as in friendships. I think it's super important to invest into your team. If you plan to have a successful business, I think it's super vital that you're investing into your team, whether that's, health benefits, whether that's recreational benefits. So, allowing them, once a month to take a painting class or to take a course or to do anything that inspires them and, fuels creativity and fuels passion and fuels excitement and lets them kind of grow in a creative way that will allow them to be more excited about their day to day at your business. You don't always have to pay to invest in your team. I'm a big fan of correspondence, so checking in, thanking them, whether it's their birthday, whether they've had a great month where you've seen some personal growth in them, whether it's just, thank you for everything you do for this company and team and how important they are. And this kind of ties back into paying attention to what people are saying and doing. So always we should be listening when people are talking to us, especially if they're, here supporting your business and really putting, their creativity and their energy and their time into your vision and, enjoying that journey together. Other ways that I like to value just small gifts like sending coffees or sending teas or sending kombuchas or, supporting a local business where they get to benefit with some local bread or pastries. Little things like that go a really long way and it makes people feel valued and heard. So I would definitely suggest investing in your team, and it doesn't always have to be expensive, and it mostly doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, I would add on. I kind of wanted to talk briefly about how I learned about team building throughout my life, and it actually comes from my history as a dancer and my history as a baseball player. So with dancing, I really learned how to compete with my team. So of course we had group numbers. So you have jazz and you have tap and you have ballet and you're putting together a routine as a team and you're competing with that routine. But an interesting spin-off is when you have a solo routine or if you have a duet routine, you actually might find yourself competing against people within your group. I think it's important to celebrate this competition, and I see that translate into business. I think we should learn how to work on a team and work, within the team and also with other teams and other businesses that might connect to the work that we're doing. And we should be able to celebrate their wins. And we should also be excited about them pushing us and building our momentum and, setting a tone for that industry that we can match. So I feel like dancing and dance competitions allowed me to be excited for my friends and my, peers, if you will, when they won and I came second, but it also was exciting to then come together on the same group and compete together. So, modeling what that relationship looks like for friendly, momentum building within your teams, but not encouraging um, combative competition where it takes away when someone else wins and they don't. I think it's a fine line, and I think we should practice modeling that with our teams. And that's something that I learned through dance, and I also learned on the baseball field. So I really value playing on a baseball team because I learned from that in order to be a successful baseball team, you had to connect off the field. So, us having team building activities, whether it was, going to the water park or, doing baseball practice or hanging out on a Friday night that wasn't to do with baseball, us building our relationship outside of the baseball field actually allowed us to have a lot more synchronicities on the baseball field and work cohesively as a team. And that allowed us success. So, all of these things are important. And I think all of you could reflect on the experiences you've had growing up as an adult in your childhood. What teams have you been a part of? Where did you find yourself competing within your team, but also competing with your team? How can we bring these lessons into your business, into your company? Um, all of these things are so, so, so important. And I think we all have so much more experience than we realize that we can bring into our businesses. Um, Getting into our actual business, I guess the first step is learning when to build your team. And that's learning when is it too much for you to take on for yourself. And I think having a system to implement onboarding employees is really important. You don't want to be in a position where you're so behind and swamped and stressed that you can't even properly train and employ a valuable employee experience. But you want to be somewhat prepared, but you also have to, of course, weigh out the cost balance and the risk of that. So being really mindful of how your company is growing within, the next 3 months to 1 year and who you need to support you in that. So really being in touch with your business and how you're growing and your numbers and how you can afford to hire and when you will. If it's not today, that's okay. And if you plan to start hiring within the next 6 months, starting to have those interviews and getting to know what role you would be filling and what you need and getting in touch with where you need support versus where you like spending your time. So once we're at the place of knowing we need our team, it's very important that we start manifesting our team. Who will these magical people be? Who is going to be so excited and dependable and responsible and creative to support our business why? We need to be cheerleaders for our business why in an authentic way so that they can decide whether this resonates with them, because you want people who resonate with your business, who resonate with you. You want to be authentic to that so you can draw them in like, you know, honeys, honeys, draw them in like bees to honey, flies to honey, I guess both. But you want to be able to manifesting the people who are going to be so excited, and you want to be very transparent about what the role is, what the company is, what's expected of them, what kind of support you need. So that transparency is so, so, so key. So manifest what that person looks like. Manifest, where could you find some support? Are you having a hard time organizing yourself? Could you hire someone to do that? Manifest someone who's super organized. If you want someone who's able to go with the flow and be dynamic and take on some responsibilities, manifest that person. Write out, you know that I'm a fan of journaling, so write out what you need, what you want. Write out all of these things. It's so important to be in touch because the universe can't provide for you what you don't know that you need. So it's very, very important to start manifesting what this is, what you'll feel when they're supporting you. Will you feel a sense of ease, a sense of peace, a sense of assurance, a sense of surrender because you know you trust in these people to take care of this, this role in the way that you would want them to. So start manifesting and start writing out what that looks like. And trust your gut with people when we do start, building our team. If something feels off, it's okay to say no. It's very important, in fact, and allowing them the same space to do so. If they don't connect, it's okay if they don't want that. It's not a rejection. It's really a celebration that this isn't the right fit and there's someone better coming. So trust your gut with people when we're employing and we're filling roles, and be adaptive. Maybe they're a little bit different than you expected and they have some different, strengths than you expected, but maybe that's exactly what you needed and you didn't even know it. So always be open, always be intuitive, always be manifesting, and allow the people to flow to you. Once you have people on your team, um, we have to start looking about what do we do with these people now? Now that we've hired, we've grown our team, we're excited. What do we do now? And I think the first step is really making sure that we're letting them know it's important that we celebrate their strengths, we celebrate their passions, we understand where they want to grow. There's transparency in their weaknesses and we can support them through that. That's, what a team does. It doesn't mean this weakness makes you expendable. It means how can we grow on this together and empower you in the way that you need to be to step into what you're really capable of. Because a lot of time it's just fear. It's a fear of wanting to do something but not being able. And, as leaders and as business owners, we should really be paving the way to allow people to safely step into that and, and not even be paving the way, but really pushing them down that journey so that they feel excited too. And they know that you're right there with them when they make mistakes, which, will happen for yourself and for your employees. I think it's important to emotionally prepare for the mistakes that will come so we can respond in a way that's positive and productive. It's okay that people make mistakes. It's inevitable. And taking ownership on them. I think, not deflecting, just owning what the mistake was and allowing them the safe space to learn from it so they don't repeat that mistake. So yeah, taking ownership. There's a long time ago, my mom actually had me read a book. And it's called Leader with No Title. It's by Robin Sharma. You've probably heard of Robin Sharma. And that was about really inspiring every single person on your team to be a leader. It's just not you as the owner or the general manager or the manager who should be leader. We should all be inspiring leaders within the team because everyone should be taking leadership within their role and really honoring and being excited about what they are responsible for. And in the same way, it's important that we don't micromanage our employees. That's a pretty suffocating energy and feeling, and I'm sure we've all felt it. And if there is constructive criticism that needs to be addressed, of course, by all means, have those conversations. I'm a fan of regular communication with your team, allowing the space to bring to the table something that you've noticed, something that you know that they're working on, allowing them to bring that to the table, but not micromanaging. So I think that's a very suffocating and limiting energy. And something I strongly advocate looking at, reflecting at how you act as a leader in your role as the owner. So yeah, and in the same vein, if one of your teammates, if an employee on your team has an idea that isn't the best idea, you don't always have to celebrate that either. It's not necessarily a mistake, but allowing that to be a space of using your experience in leadership to say why that doesn't make sense. So say it's, they've come to the table and they have a really great idea, but it's just not logistical. Just really explaining why and just being like that, thank you so much for brainstorming for this team, things that can grow our business. And I love this idea and let's, work with it. But in this exact way, it doesn't make sense. And here's why. And just letting them know, giving them some clarity as to why it's a great idea. It's a great start to an idea, but maybe it just needs a little bit of a shift. I think that knowledge and sharing how we receive ideas is super important because if we don't celebrate that feedback, you'll notice that people shy away from stepping in. And once they start shying away from, stepping into sharing their thoughts and feedbacks and opinions, you'll notice a decline in their work. And I think that's what I feel. I think that's just inevitable. If people aren't feeling valued and, celebrated and honored, um, they're probably not going to be very excited about their role with your team. So really being in touch with that, and when, celebrate all the ideas, even if it's not ones that we can execute, we can always celebrate ideas. Ideas should always be celebrated. Another important thing about teams is this idea of busyness and being busy. And I think it's a tricky territory because we like to be busy and we like to say that we're busy, but busy has such a heavy energy. Being busy is not the same as being excited, and being busy is not the same as being productive. Um, and I'd like to shy away from, us celebrating that with our companies, especially as leaders within. And I think instead, I'm so excited just framing it. I'm so excited about everything that we need to accomplish, and using the team like, hey, this week my to-do list is big. Do you think you could take some of this workload from me and just, let's divvy it up so it's not so much on one person, and allowing them the space to um, not feel like they always have to be busy, because that is a very energetically draining stance. Um, it's not something to celebrate, being too busy where you have no time for yourself, and that's not something that will be beneficial to your company. If everyone is so busy and worn down, expect that the magic and creativity of your business will decline alongside that. So take the time to model what it means to stay productive and stay busy, but taking regular breaks and, checking in with people on your team, putting aside a couple of minutes just to see how it's going, knowing what projects they're working on, hearing what they're most excited about this week, hearing about something that was frustrating, something that held them back on their timeline that week and it's really weighing heavy on them, and let them surrender it. Encourage them to surrender it. Share with them something you've surrendered this week that didn't go the way you planned. So allow your team to inspire you, allow your team to make mistakes, enjoy this journey together, grow your business together. It's so exciting to, all be working for the same why. Um, so being mindful, acknowledging your team, being grateful. Um, yeah, I think there's so many important parts of, building a team. And that's something that I think is super passionate, because that is what, pays dividends back to the state of our society. So if someone is, underappreciated at work, they're probably going to go home feeling underappreciated with their family, with their friends, in society, and that ripple effect will be powerful. But if you are so appreciative of the work that they're doing and the creativity they share, and honoring a break that day, go take an hour and go walk down by the water or in the woods or by the trees. That's not, a loss to your business. That's actually a gain, because when they come back, they're going to be so excited to just dive into work and feeling, intuitive impulses and downloading some ideas and having renewed energy. And that's only going to make their work week more exciting and productive in a meaningful way. So I encourage you all to look at how you're inspiring your team, inspiring yourself. You need to stay inspired in order for them to be inspired. And I think that's the most important part of being a leader, which I will be talking about next month, how to model being a leader. Um, and that will be on June 8th. We'll talk about modeling leadership. But this month and next week, I'll follow up with some prompts and some thoughts for us all to focus on. But this week, let's take a moment to look at our team and how we're supporting them and how we're empowering them and how we're manifesting new teammates and how we're surrendering any attachments to any ideas and just letting the magic flow in. So the coalition has very beautifully summarized all of these points if anyone wants to go through and just journal about it, or vocalize it, or field some take this conversation back to your team and have these questions and have these conversations and facilitate some positive language, and really just take a moment to invest in you and your team and what you're accomplishing, because I promise you it will be so much more magical. So thanks everyone. Have a great Tuesday. I'll see you next week with some follow-up journal prompts and thought-provoking questions. And don't forget, at the end of the month on May 27th, we have how to invigorate your brick and mortar to bring new customers. And on May 25th, we have Veronica from Shabu Prints who will be talking about building your magnetic brand. So much exciting things happening. I hope you have a great Tuesday, and we'll talk soon.